life can be so full of contradictions. The beautiful and the ugly, hopelessness and healing, heart racing and heartbreaking. And how is it that so often God works this way? The things that we don't expect him to do, he does. And the places that we don't expect to see him, he is. He always goes deeper than what we can see, because as much as we may try to solve the problem of poverty, it'll all be insignificant if we don't remember that poverty, more than a condition of material possessions, poverty is a condition of the heart, and any heart without Christ will be broken, and any heart without community will be barren. And I'm learning that this is why we do what we do. This summer, I had the chance to meet a family. It was a single mom and 3 kids, 3 beautiful kids, and I really felt like I connected with them right away. We had a group that came down and was building a house for them, and that whole week something just felt off, something just wasn't right, and we didn't really know why. But our perception, what we could see, was that they almost weren't even interested, and we didn't know all of the brokenness and the pain that she had beneath, that had been hidden. And it wasn't until almost the end of the summer, weeks later, that her story finally came out. One afternoon, me and Anna and Isaias, the indigenous couple that works with the ministry, and this family, were all in the house. We were all drawn together, I believe, because God had specifically planned that day a breakthrough for this mom. And we had just gone to visit, but I just felt this something inside me that I needed to stay. And all of us were there not really knowing why. But it was because God had brought us all there so that this mom could have a breakthrough. And after we had been visiting for a little while, the mom just broke down. She just began to cry, and suddenly all the pain and the hurt and the abuse that had happened in her life, that had been hidden for years, finally came out. And when this happened, we were with Anna and Isaias, and they just asked if I would take her kids outside and go play so that they could talk, so that they could really talk finally. And so I did. I took the kids outside, and we were in a pretty rough area, and it was already getting dark and it was cold, so I ended up just sitting in the car with these kids, and they just clung to me. We just sat in the back seat, and they clung to me. They didn't let go. And the one little girl, the younger girl, twice throughout the night, she would just squeeze me hard and say, "Heather, I'm scared. I'm scared." And I would say, "Why are you scared?" She said, I don't know, I'm just scared." And she would cling to me, and I just put my arms around her, and she just looked up at me and said, "Heather, sing to me." And so I started singing, and we just sat there in the back of the car, those kids in my arms, and we sang, and they sang with me, until finally she fell asleep. And in that moment, I realized that they could have 1,000 new houses, and it wouldn't matter. At that moment, they didn't need a new house. They didn't need a new bed. They needed someone to be there. They needed someone with open arms. And the house was important. The house was what brought everyone there. The house brought everyone together. The house was like the vessel. But the house in itself, the house couldn't heal that family. The house couldn't fix that family. I also realized that this whole time I was in the car with the kids, it wasn't me in the house. It wasn't me who this mom could finally open up to and pour out her heart to. It was the ones that she knew were going to stay. It was the ones who were willing to say, we will be your community. And I know that that is really where a difference is made, because community says, you're not alone. Community says, I will defend you. Community says, I will be with you. Community builds hope, and hope spreads. And this summer we started working with a community called San Francisco, one of the poorest communities in the valley. And a community like that is just full of brokenness and hopelessness, abuse, neglect, hunger. And places like that, no building can fix that. No building can heal that. But a building can start something. And this summer, we built a building that could become a safe place in that community. And it became a place where kids could come and have a meal and have people care for them. And that started something in that community that brought just a little piece of hope to so many kids and families and parents and people that had been so hopeless. And we began to see community being formed in that building through people loving each other, and we saw hope begin to spread through that whole place. This is why we do what we do. And this is how restoration happens. This is how we push back the darkness, and this is how we make Jesus known. Because beyond anything that we can do or build, poverty can be turned to riches through community, community with people, and community with a living God who not only builds a home for us, but also opens up his arms.
Come set your rule and reign in our hearts again. Increase in us, we pray. Unveil why we're made. Come set our hearts ablaze with hope, like wildfire in our very souls. Holy Spirit, come invade us now. We are your church. Need your power in us. We seek your kingdom first. We hunger and we thirst. Refuse to waste our lives, for you're our joy and prize. To see the captive hearts released, the hurt, the sick, the poor at peace. We lay down our life for heaven's cause. We are the church. We pray, revive this earth. Build your kingdom.
kids here in the kitchen. Pastor Jose said he thought there was going to be around 45. There ended up being closer to 70 kids. So there was a lot. It was very loud, and they all had lunch, and it was really cool.